Oh, hi! This week I'm gonna try to make something that my friend Joe asked me to make so many months ago. I've made so many excuses to him as to why I haven't been able to do it. I have been very busy with lots of other things, but I have time. I want to do a video and film a project. I have nothing else pressing happening, so I'm finally going to dedicate the time. I think there's a lot of planning involved. I'm kind of winging the pattern, and this may just be the prototype in case it's not quite what he was looking for. But yeah, I'm finally giving myself the day to fuck around with this bag. So he wants a bag of holding, I think, for some D&D adventures, which I love very much. I've made him a couple things for his D&D group, and I just love how hard he nerds. So yeah, I figured I'd show you the process. Also, ramble about things as I do. Let me get my little graph paper planner thing out. Oh, I did start on a cross stitch. Well, cross stitch pattern. This will eventually become a cross stitch. I haven't done much in the way of cross stitch. I think I've done 2.5 pieces, but it's basically 8-bit art that you can do more line work with if you want more intricate detail. But yeah, once I figured that out, I was like, oh my god, there's so much you can do with this. I'm not gonna explain this yet. There's a lot of crossover between two different podcast fandoms, and one of them is a little bit of a deep cut, so I don't know if anybody's gonna get it. Alright, so here's what you need, aka here is what I'm going to fuck around with for the next couple hours. For those of you that saw the duffel bag video I just put out this past Friday, which I still can't believe how well that came out. I'm really, really pumped about it. It just looks so fucking good. And I'm glad I took the time to redo some of the shit that I wasn't happy with after doing it the first time. But this is some of the leftover plaid. I'm actually going to use this as the lining for this bag. And then the exterior of this bag is going to be this cream colored canvas. I'm thinking about weathering it with acrylic paint afterwards. If you're fighting a bunch of bad guys and you're out in the wild and adventuring, your shit's not gonna stay pristine. I also have an assortment of zippers. This may also get weathered, but this will match the plaid on the inside because I want to do an inner pocket. And I think I want a main bag pouch and then do an outside pocket. But that also seems like a real bitch to sew on, so it may just be an additional layer for the pocket. Is that making sense? Not one that's stitched onto the front. I also have this strap from a purse I used to wear all the time and just from years of use fell apart. I also will need some hardware D-rings at least. My lovely friend Sama sent me a ton of dog collar hardware, but it also works for bag making, which has been endlessly helpful. Yay, yeah, here we go. I need something like this. I'm going to keep this whole thing out just in case I need something else in here. So that's all the material. Oh, and then yeah, the typical stuff, scissors, pins, matching thread, sewing machine, probably some seam rippers, I'd imagine, because things are going to get a little experimental here. It's going to be great. I'm excited. I do need to go to the post office at some point today, but I don't even need to go when they're open. So I literally have the whole day to work on this, and that is making this seem much more fun than being under some kind of time pressure. Because yeah, I wanna play around with it, and I don't often give myself that luxury. And yeah, it's super shitty and rainy out, so I already went for a walk this morning. Oh, here's what happened, right? I went for a walk and it was sprinkling a little bit. And honestly, because I am a hermit of a person, I much prefer leaving the house and going out into my neighborhood when no one else is out, especially during quarantine times. So the fact that it was sprinkling a little bit, I was like, yes, this is my time. So I started going for a walk, and the rain got heavier as I was going, but I thought ahead because I've been burned before by getting caught in the rain with my cell phone. So I had just a shopping bag. Since we're not allowed to use reusable bags, I have so many shopping bags now, and I'm just leaving them in a giant pile to do something with them at some point. But anyway, I took the bag out, wrapped my phone in it, and then as I was going to stuff this dark blob into a shopping bag and stuff it into my pocket, that is when 4 or 5 neighbors were heading to work, and they definitely now think that I was shoving a bag of shit into my pocket. So it's an interesting start to the day. Just in case you were wondering what kind of week I'm having. Okay, let's get to a blank page here. It is a little sad looking through planners. So since I am trying to do a cooler dupe of a bag that already exists. I'm going to find the measurements for it if they are on the internet. Okay, so this is the style bag we're looking at. And I actually think I may have leather strappies I can attach to the front because your girl's a hoarder. I have a whole drawer entirely dedicated just vinyl scraps. Oh, you know what? The bag I was mentioning earlier, here are the bits. Oh, maybe I can use this leather bit. Okay. I think for closures on the front, it's gonna work if I make a little loop through one of these like tri-prong things, bag findings. I don't know what any of this shit is called. And like this is on the front of the bag, right? And then I take one of these tabs that'll be attached to the flap on the front, and then it can pull through like this. And then, yeah, that's actually holding surprisingly well. Okay, so here's the plan. This is not a very good drawing, and it's going to be, you know, deeper than this. There's going to be more involved, but it's going to be, you know, like a three-dimensional bag, obviously. I'll have, you know, a wide side strip around it so it'll fit some stuff. There will be a pocket on the front. I'll sew this flap in when I attach the side piece. So I'll have to construct this front panel first and then sew it all into that edge piece so it'll all be caught in the side seam. All the little tabs on the front with those metal prongy bits, and then there'll be this flap coming down over the top, and then these will tie into these guys down here. Somewhere on the side, on each side, I'm going to put a little loop that'll hold one of the D-rings, which the main strap will attach to. I'm going to put a zipper along this whole section. Maybe put another unflapped pocket on the back, and then inside is just going to be a pretty basic lining, and I think I am going to add like one inner pocket against like the back inside. I think that's the plan. Here are the product dimensions for this one, so I need to make it at least that big, which shouldn't be too bad. And here's another kind of reference photo I got. Also, I said bag of holding earlier. I mean material component bag, so sorry if that terminology is fucking anybody up. All right, so I marked the measurements, but I am gonna bump at least some of them up a little bit. I'm going to cut out like the main panels, like the solid back and front piece and the edge piece, which I'm just gonna measure by cutting out the front piece and just seeing how big around the entire thing is. You understand how shapes work. And then we'll build the pockets and stuff from there. I think this is gonna go okay. If it doesn't, this is why I'm doing a prototype. And honestly, any commission makes me so fucking nervous, especially if it's something I haven't really done before, but I also wouldn't learn if I didn't try new shit. So like I wouldn't think to make this kind of bag. Although I've been saying all year I want to get into making more bags. I just fucking killed it with that duffel bag, so I am riding on a little bit of a bag making high. And like the worst that can happen is I can't use any of the fabric that I'm using, which is all scrap stuff anyway. You know, this material is not super cheap, but the main thing I bought it for has already been made and gifted. And I got some lining pieces for the duffel bag out of it. So like there's nothing lost here. There's only stuff to gain other than time, but like I'm gonna be learning during this entire day. So it's not even lost time. Do you like how I have to give myself these pep talks before I dive into a project? I just want this to go well so that my friend can have a bag that he wants, and I want it to look nice and like be useful and be the right size for the stuff he wants. I don't want him to be disappointed. All right, let's have some fun and make a thing. I'm going to get my ironing board out, press this fabric, get these main pieces cut, and then I'll check in when we start fucking with the pouches and stuff. Okay, y'all. A lot has happened. It is like 4 p.m. where I was filming this at 8 something. I haven't been home the whole time. I did take little Bert, this sleepy little bean down here. We went for a bit of a hike. He did also desperately want to go check out a beehive, and I kept him from doing that. But anyways, I wanted to update on all of the prepped pieces. I'm pretty much ready to like assemble the bag, but as I was explaining earlier, kind of gotta work backwards almost, where normally if you're building a garment, you kind of do the inner workings first and then add the adornments after the fact. But in my experience, the details have to get done first and the like core assembly happens. This is the top of the bag. I added these D-rings to the straps. I should have waited to do that until the very end. That's the only thing I think I really messed up on for the timeline. It's just gonna make it more of a pain in the ass to like have this strap in the way when I'm doing the construction. I inserted the zipper into the top section of the band that's going to go around the edges of the whole bag and make the depth. I'm doing the band in 2 pieces, and yeah, this will be the top half. I also added the loops for this to the top half, just so it's not trying to like flip over by being further down the bag. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Here's the lining. If you want to know how I did this zipper situation, I go way in depth into every step of my Ramona Flowers bag construction. Also added a pocket to one of the lining pieces. This will be at the back. I added a little zippered pocket. Very, very pleased with the color happening here. I also put together top flap that's gonna lay down. I put in the little strappy bits. I also tapered the corners here just because I thought it would look nicer. And then for the pocket that's going on the front of the bag, I added those little loops with the 3-prong guys on here. And I just made sure to line them up at a decent spot that these will fit through like that. That's how the front's gonna look. I did the back pocket in a similar way where I have to assemble the lining and the shell of the main bag differently, but for these pockets, because they're just gonna be like their own layer on the outside, I did attach the linings. I pulled it down a bit just so it wasn't sticking out at the edge. So like this is gonna be the inside. And I did the same for the front with the little claspy bits, is attach the lining and, you know, basted the edges. Okay, so for assembling the actual bag, there are a lot of pieces happening here. I'm just gonna show you bit by bit as it gets constructed. So I'm gonna do the lining of the main bag first. I'm gonna attach these at the side seams here and here, because again, my band is in 2 pieces. Oh god, the one part about going out into the world is fucking allergies, man. Ugh, it's gonna be fine. So this is what that loop looks like now. I'm going to pick whatever side is going to be the back, and I'm going to slowly, tediously, carefully pin this right sides together to one edge of that plaid part. It'll be helpful to like fold that zipper in half, find the center point, toss a little pin there, and then fold this baby in half, find the center point, and like that'll be a good jumping off mark for lining the rest of this up. Probably do the same at the bottom. That would make sense. Yeah. Okay, this is where, like at the back bottom, is where I'm going to leave a little gap in the lining, because eventually this whole thing will need to get turned out the right way. And we do that through the lining, as we have learned making previous bags. I've overthought this many times on other projects, and like, just leave a gap in the lining and everything else will follow suit. I may regret saying that, but I think I walked myself through this to that point that makes sense. It's starting to take shape. I'm really excited. This is what the back looks like, all installed. I did round the corners, so I cut about this much off. And I did the exact same thing on the unpocketed lining piece, which will be the front, and I was able to stitch all the way around. The lining is done. We are moving on to putting this other bag together. I think I can just stuff this into the lining for now. I really wish I had thought that out better, but you know, c'est la vie. Just like I did with the lining band piece, I'm going to attach this bottom half right sides together at these side seams, so the 2 spots. Ooh, look at it. It's beautiful. Oh, and by the way, I have been pressing these open, the side seams here, and then like stitching along them just to reinforce it and make it look nice from the outside. Now, I'm just gonna do exactly what I did with the lining, except different. Right, we have pockets to add. Okay. Oh, we have a bunch of stuff to add. Ooh, nothing to stress about here. Nothing at all. So, I'm gonna take one of my like full front/back pieces. I'm going to baste along here and the bottom just to make this one piece, adding this like plain pocket piece on here. And then for the other full panel, I'm going to add the pocket piece with the little loops on them. Same thing, baste that to the bottom, as well as basting this one to the top here. I have to be careful when I get to the seam allowance on the sides though, because I don't want to catch this in the seam allowance. I should have actually made it a little narrower, but I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. And actually, maybe I'll taper the seam allowance so it's catching that a little bit. Although, right, it's going to get rounded, so it'll catch the top. Okay, I think that's going to fit in really nicely. And I can just feel for where this flap is going. So this is what the front will look like. So yeah, I'm going to baste all this together so that these are each one piece, because that's too much to fuck around with while attaching it to the middle band. But once those are together, I'm gonna attach them, you know, find the center points, do a shitload of pinning and clipping, really take my time sewing it in, and don't need to worry about any gaps. You do need to make sure your zipper is open, that like top main zipper, and that you have your gap in the bottom of the lining. Okay, before I do this last panel, I just want to show you what I mean by excessive pinning and clipping, because there's a lot here. And this is also what I mean about like rounding off the rectangular corners. I'm going to stitch it along here. Also, fuck, there's no give in this canvas. I don't think I got any puckers on the first side I did, but it was much tougher. Where this has like a little bit more movement, I wouldn't go so far as to say stretch to it, but like maybe a little ease, where not with this shit. But that's why it's good bag material, because very durable, won't fall apart when you put heavy stuff in it. Okay, so as for weathering this bag, I don't think I'm up for doing it myself. Ooh, there was still a pin there. That's good to check to make sure all of those are gone. Oh, hi, future me popping in to say I slept on it, had a chat with the person this is going to, and decided I'm going to give weathering a try. Will not be part of this video, but I am going to post the process regardless of how it turns out. I'm hoping for good, but I am genuinely very prepared for this to go badly. I'm going to put an exclusive video up on my Patreon. Since most of the stuff I've been posting over there has been open to everyone, I want to give them a little extra love. There are a bunch of extra videos that are exclusive to my Patreon peeps, but there's stuff for you over there even if you can't support me, including a bunch of patterns that I've been posting over there from previous projects. So basically, there's stuff for everybody. All right, let's jump back to a very exhausted me from yesterday trying to close this video out so I could eat and then go to sleep. Are y'all ready for the best moment of making anything? Is when you turn it out for the first time and are like, oh, did it come out terrible or not? So that's right, big bulky strap first. God, I still cannot believe that I didn't wait to sew the rings onto the strap. Oh, this is tough material. I should have made a bigger gap. God damn, what a pain in the ass. This is probably the closest I will ever come to actually giving birth, so just embrace the struggle. Oh, we're so close. Oh my god, it's happening! Oh, and it doesn't look terrible. Look at it. Oh my god. Hot diggity damn. And this is what the inside looks like. This guy zips. We got our pocket. It's looking good. Everything's facing the right way. I don't have an upside down pocket anywhere. The last step, my deuterinos, once I really push out all the edges. If you use anything any thinner than this, I'd definitely recommend interfacing for like most bag construction. I wouldn't be mad if there had been interfacing in this one. And yeah, the very last step. I'm just gonna fold this gap in on itself and then just do a row of top stitching to close it up at the bottom. Make sure there's no fray bits sticking out. And here it is, y'all. Are fully complete with our flappy pocket in the front, our other pocket in the back. It unzips. It's fully lined. There's a full fucking pocket in here. I'm so fucking proud of this thing. Fuck yeah. All right. Well, this was like a rousing success. I was keeping the pressure off and telling myself, hey, it can just be a prototype. It's just for practice. I learned a bunch working on this. I'm really, really pleased with how it came out. There's not a ton I would even change. Someone's getting very hungry. It's dinner time and the dogs upstairs are going crazy, so I'm going to keep this bit nice and short and just say humongous thank you to all of you for watching. This is all doable because of everyone over on my Patreon and everyone that's been buying from my Etsy and people like Alyssa who bought a coffee over on my coffee page. So thank you so much. It absolutely means the world that anybody cares about my stuff enough to want to support it. And I will see you all back here with another video next Friday. Thank you so much for hanging out. Bert, don't eat the fabric. Ew.